using code blocks. So let's start up code blocks. And there's a nice, easy to use template to create a project. It's sort of referred to as like the Project Explorer or the Project Wizard. You also notice that there's a couple different ways you can create the project. If you've never created a project before, there may be a link on the home page where you can just say create a new project. But typically the way that you'll create a new project is you'll launch it through the File option, menu option. So go to File, you'll say New, and you'll say New Project. And remember that the reason that we're demonstrating how to create a new project is because the project represents the program. The program can contain many different source files. Right now, the first step in creating a C program is to create the project. So we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to say Project. And this is going to bring up the dialog for many different types of projects. Most of the projects that we're going to create in this class are going to be console applications. So that's what we're going to select right here. But you'll see there are many different categories. You can select an empty project, you can select different ones, but a console application is what we want to select for our purposes. So we select console application and we select the Go button after that. Once we select the Go button, it's going to say, basically it's going to bring up this console application wizard. And it's going to say, welcome to the new console application wizard. It's going to guide you through creating a new console application. And you can skip this page if you don't want to see it on every creation. So you can just say next. And then it's going to ask you what kind of application you want to create. You want to select C. And then again, hit next. And then you want to give your project a title. Remember that you want to use meaningful names for all file names, even for projects. So the project represents the program. Since we're just going to be testing something, I'm just going to say project title is going to be test. You can create the project in any folder you want. If there's a particular specific environment on your PC that you want to put it, by default I'm just going to leave it in downloads for now. But you will have to define that. It's going to create a file name for you, the CPB, but it's going to put the project in wherever you specified, and you want to hit the next button. After you hit the next button here, it's going to ask you what compiler you want to use. There better be something selected here. If you don't have a compiler that's auto-detected, you're not going to be able to create here. I have many compilers installed on my system. You should at the very least have your MinWin compiler or your SIGWin compiler. I just use a GNU compiler, but it should be the MinWin compiler you select here. I would just keep the other defaults as the same, creating both the debug configuration and the release configuration. And then you want to hit the Finish option. And after you hit the Finish option, your project will be created. You'll see basically on the left-hand pane side in your management view that if you select the Projects tab, you'll see that there's now a new test project. And underneath there's a source folder, and the project template also automatically created a default file for me, which is main.c. We know it's a C source file because it has the C extension. We can double click that and then you'll see the editor come up. Now I have the editor especially large with text, probably a little bit too large, so I'm going to change that. And you can do that in your settings, editing preference pile. I'm just going to change the font to be a little smaller. Maybe 18 would be good. I want to make sure you guys can see when I'm editing. So I think 18 is good. But this just created a simple main.c file, mainly a hello world application. It's a template that created some main code for you. And so your project is created. And as I mentioned, it will create some default code for you. This is going to look foreign to you right now. I'll explain this in another lecture. But this is the basics of creating a project. Once you've done creating a project, you can now actually start writing code and then executing it and running it as well. So other things you may want to do is, again, you want to analyze this project management window. You'll see the main.c file there. You can right click that and you can remove it if you wanted to remove a file from a project. I'm going to show you how to add more files and projects, but if you right click on sources, or if you say file, you can add new source files as well just by going file, new, empty file, or if you want to select from a template. So here you would actually be able to select user or custom templates that would generate code for you. But you can see that under sources there can be many different files. And then eventually what you want to do is, in order to build it and run it, you're going to build it and run it from different things, but we haven't got there.